Nathan Robinson's IQ was so high that it made alien brains bleed, literally. His human intelligence was the stuff of Prilorian nightmares, the kind that left them slack-jawed and screaming for their mummies. At just 28 years old, Nathan worked as the lead researcher at the Interstellar Scientific Collaboration, ISC, on Priloria Prime. His job was to help the Prilorians develop advanced tech that would blow their freaky little minds right out of their misshapen skulls. But it wasn't all smooth sailing for Nathan. The Prilorians had some seriously weird thought processes and cultural norms that made fitting in about as easy as teaching a goldfish to tap dance. Still, Nathan was determined to make it work. He needed this job. Humanity needed this collaboration with the Prilorians to work. Without their advanced tech and resources, the human race would be left defenseless against the hostile alien threats lurking in the dark corners of the galaxy. So Nathan put his nose to the grindstone and got to work on a groundbreaking quantum computing project that would change everything. And boy, did he deliver. Nathan's discovery was so revolutionary, so mind-bendingly brilliant, that it made the Prilorians' so-called fundamental laws of physics look like a preschooler's macaroni art project. But when Nathan shared his findings with Tharos, his Prilorian project co-lead, the slimy alien bastard had the audacity to accuse him of faking the results. Nathan knew he was onto something big, something that could change the course of human history, and he'd be damned if he let some jealous, close-minded alien stand in his way. As Nathan dug deeper, he discovered a shocking truth. The Prilorians had been deliberately suppressing human contributions to the ISC and taking credit for their ideas all along. Well, not anymore. Nathan was going to expose their duplicitous alien asses and prove once and for all that human intelligence was a force to be reckoned with. The fate of humanity rested on his shoulders, and Nathan would stop at nothing to secure their place among the stars, even if it meant going toe-to-toe with an entire alien civilization. Nathan stood before the ISC board, his heart pounding in his chest, as he prepared to present his groundbreaking discovery. He took a deep breath and launched into his explanation, his voice steady and confident as he walked the Prilorian board members through the complex quantum mechanics behind his work. He could see the skepticism on their faces as he spoke, but he pressed on, determined to make them understand the significance of his findings. He pointed to the undeniable evidence, the potential for revolutionary advancements in quantum computing that could change the course of both human and Prilorian history. But as he finished his presentation, the room remained silent. The Prilorian board members exchanged glances, their expressions ranging from dismissive to outright hostile. "This is interesting, Mr. Robinson," one of the board members finally spoke, his tone dripping with condescension. "But surely you must realize that your credentials are hardly sufficient for such a bold claim." Nathan felt his blood boil, but he forced himself to remain calm. "With all due respect, sir, my credentials have nothing to do with the validity of my work. The evidence speaks for itself." Another board member chimed in, his voice sharp and accusatory. "And where exactly did you come up with these ideas, Mr. Robinson? They bear a striking resemblance to the work of several Prilorian scientists." Nathan couldn't believe what he was hearing. They were actually accusing him of stealing ideas from the very people who had been suppressing human contributions to the ISC for years. He took a deep breath and met the board member's gaze head-on. "I can assure you, sir, that this work is entirely my own. If you have evidence to the contrary, I invite you to present it." Tharos, who had been sitting silently at the end of the table, suddenly stood up, his face contorted with rage. "This is an outrage," he shouted, slamming his fist on the table. "The board must take immediate action to terminate Mr. Robinson's employment and ban him from the ISC." The room erupted into chaos, with board members shouting over each other and Tharos continuing to rant and rave. Nathan stood his ground, his heart racing but his resolve unwavering. Finally, the head of the board held up a hand for silence. "Enough!" he shouted, his voice cutting through the din. "We cannot make such a decision lightly. The potential backlash from the human scientific community could be severe." He turned to Nathan and Tharos, his expression grave. "I propose a public debate between the two of you. You will each present your research and arguments before a panel of esteemed Prilorian and human scientists. The winner of the debate will be granted full control over the quantum computing project, and the loser will be stripped of their position at the ISC." Nathan felt a surge of adrenaline course through his veins. This was his chance to expose the Prilorians' bias, once and for all, to prove that human intelligence was just as valuable as their own. He met Tharos's gaze, his eyes blazing with determination. "I accept." As news of the upcoming debate spread, tensions between the human and Prilorian scientific communities rose to a fever pitch. Human scientists rallied behind Nathan, seeing him as a symbol of their struggle for recognition and equality in the ISC. Prilorian scientists, on the other hand, viewed Nathan as a threat to their dominance and superiority. But as both sides prepared for the debate, strange things started happening. Nathan's research data went missing from his lab, and there were several attempts to sabotage his work. He had a sinking feeling that Tharos was behind it all, but he couldn't prove it. Nathan knew he had to stay focused. He pored over his notes, double-checking his calculations and strengthening his arguments. He wouldn't let anything stand in the way of his mission to secure humanity's place among the stars. The fate of his species rested on his shoulders, and he would stop at nothing to see it through. Nathan pored over the security logs from his lab, his brow furrowed in concentration. He had a hunch that the sabotage attempts were connected to Tharos somehow, but he needed proof. As he dug deeper, a pattern began to emerge. The timestamps of the unauthorized access to his lab coincided with gaps in the ISC's surveillance footage. It was as if someone had selectively edited out certain moments, leaving no trace of their activities. But Nathan was too smart to be fooled by such amateur tactics. He used his own custom algorithms to analyze the footage, looking for any anomalies or inconsistencies. And then he found it. A single frame, barely noticeable to the untrained eye, that showed a glimpse of Tharos entering Nathan's lab. The Prilorian was holding a device that Nathan had never seen before, something that looked like a cross between a neural interface and a quantum processor. Nathan's eyes widened as the realization hit him. The Prilorians had been using advanced AI technology to enhance their cognitive abilities. It explained everything. Their dismissive attitude towards human intelligence, their uncanny ability to solve complex problems with ease, even their arrogance and superiority complex. Nathan's mind raced with the implications. This wasn't just about the sabotage attempts anymore. This was about leveling the playing field, about proving that human intelligence was just as valuable as Prilorian intelligence. He knew what he had to do. He had to create his own AI-enhanced cognition system, one that would seamlessly integrate with the human brain and allow for direct communication with quantum computers. Nathan worked tirelessly, pushing his already exceptional intelligence to new heights. He pored over the latest research in neuroscience and quantum computing, absorbing information at a rate that would have made even the most brilliant Prilorian scientist jealous. Days turned into weeks as Nathan tinkered with his creation. He barely slept, fueled by a combination of caffeine and sheer determination. His lab became a mess of wires, circuits, and glowing screens, a testament to his single-minded focus. And then finally it was ready. The neural interface was a thing of beauty, a sleek and shimmering device that fit snugly against Nathan's temple. He took a deep breath and activated it, feeling a surge of energy course through his brain. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. Nathan's mind expanded, his thoughts becoming faster and more complex than ever before. He could see patterns and connections that had previously been hidden from him, could process information at a speed that defied human comprehension. It was exhilarating but also terrifying. Nathan realized the true potential of his creation, the power it held to bridge the gap between human and Prilorian intelligence. But he also recognized the dangers of such technology falling into the wrong hands. As the debate approached, Nathan faced a difficult decision. He could keep his creation a secret, using it to win the debate, and prove his intellectual superiority once and for all. Or he could reveal the existence of the AI-enhanced cognition technology to the scientific community, exposing the Prilorians' unethical practices and demanding equal access for all species. The decision weighed heavily on Nathan's mind as he prepared for the debate. He ran through his arguments, his newly enhanced brain allowing him to anticipate and counter any possible objections from Tharos or the other Prilorian scientists. But then, just days before the debate, Nathan made a shocking discovery. He had been monitoring Tharos's lab, hoping to gather more evidence of the Prilorians' use of AI technology. Instead, he found something far more disturbing. Tharos had been secretly working on his own AI-enhanced cognition system, but with a twisted purpose. He intended to use the technology to dominate and control other species, to establish Prilorian supremacy throughout the galaxy. Nathan's heart raced as he realized the gravity of the situation. He couldn't let Tharos succeed, couldn't allow such a powerful technology to be used for such nefarious purposes. With time running out and the fate of the ISC hanging in the balance, Nathan knew he had to make a choice. He could play it safe and keep his own creation a secret, using it to secure a personal victory in the debate, or he could take a stand for what was right, revealing the truth about the Prilorians' unethical practices and demanding equal access to AI technology for all species. As Nathan stepped onto the stage for the debate, he took a deep breath and made his decision. He would fight not just for his own glory, but for the greater good of the galactic scientific community, no matter the cost. Nathan stepped into the massive auditorium, his heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. The room was packed with both human and Prilorian scientists, their faces a sea of curiosity and anticipation. Members of the galactic media were also present, their cameras and recording devices at the ready to capture every moment of the historic debate. As Nathan made his way to the stage, he couldn't help but notice Tharos's confident demeanor. The Prilorian stood tall and proud, a smug smile playing on his lips. Nathan's gut told him that his opponent had something up his sleeve, but he couldn't quite put his finger on what it might be. The moderator, a respected Prilorian scientist named Dr. Zaxos, stepped up to the podium and called the debate to order. "Welcome, esteemed colleagues and members of the press," he began, his voice echoing through the auditorium. "Today we gather to witness a momentous event in the history of the interstellar scientific collaboration. Two brilliant minds, one human and one Prilorian, will present their groundbreaking research and engage in a debate that will shape the future of our organization." With that, Dr. Zaxos invited Tharos to present his arguments first. The Prilorian stepped up to the podium, a holographic display flickering to life behind him. But as he began to speak, it quickly became apparent that his arguments were surprisingly weak and lacking in substance. He made vague claims about the superiority of Prilorian intelligence and the inherent limitations of human cognition, but offered little in the way of concrete evidence or scientific reasoning. Nathan, his mind enhanced by the AI-powered neural interface, easily picked apart Tharos's arguments. When it was his turn to speak, he presented his own research with stunning clarity and precision. He walked the audience through the complex quantum mechanics behind his work, using vivid analogies and interactive simulations to make the concepts accessible to even the most skeptical Prilorian scientist. The audience was stunned by Nathan's brilliance. Whispers of amazement and admiration rippled through the crowd as he continued to speak, his words painting a picture of a future in which humans and Prilorians worked together as equals to push the boundaries of scientific knowledge. But just as Nathan was about to deliver his final, most compelling argument, Tharos suddenly interrupted him. "Forgive me, Dr. Robinson," he said, his voice dripping with false sincerity, "but I must ask, how is it that a mere human could possess such advanced cognitive abilities? Surely you must be using some form of artificial enhancement, just as I have been throughout this debate." With a dramatic flourish, Tharos proceeded to demonstrate his own enhanced abilities by solving a series of complex mathematical equations in mere seconds. The audience gasped in awe as the Prilorian's mind worked at an almost superhuman speed, the solutions appearing on the holographic display behind him in rapid succession. Nathan's heart sank as he realized that Tharos had forced his hand. He had hoped to keep his own use of AI-enhanced cognition technology a secret, but now he had no choice but to come clean. Taking a deep breath, he stepped back up to the podium and addressed the audience. "It's true," he said, his voice steady and clear. "I have been using an AI-enhanced cognition system of my own design, but I developed this technology only after discovering that the Prilorians have been secretly using similar technology for years to suppress human advancement and maintain their dominance in the scientific community." The auditorium erupted in gasps and murmurs of disbelief. Nathan pressed on, presenting evidence of the Prilorians' unethical practices and Tharos's plans for galactic domination. The holographic display behind him came alive with damning documents and recordings, each one more shocking than the last. As the evidence mounted, a group of Prilorian scientists suddenly stood up from their seats. Dr. Zaxos, his face a mask of shock and anger, demanded to know what they were doing. But the scientists, their voices trembling with emotion, began to corroborate Nathan's claims. "We have been part of a faction working to expose the truth," one of them said, her eyes filled with tears. "For too long our species has used our advanced technology to oppress and exploit others. It is time for us to embrace change and work towards a more equitable future for all." As the debate drew to a close, the ISC board members were left with a difficult decision. They could either maintain the status quo, allowing the Prilorians to continue their unethical practices, or they could embrace change and grant equal access to AI-enhanced cognition technology for all species. The future of the galactic scientific community hung in the balance, and Nathan knew that his actions had set in motion a chain of events that would shape the course of history for generations to come. The auditorium fell silent as Dr. Zaxos cleared his throat and addressed the audience. After much deliberation, the ISC board has come to a decision regarding the revelations brought forth during this debate. Nathan's heart raced as he awaited the verdict, his palms sweaty and his mouth dry. "We have determined that the potential risks and disruptions associated with the widespread use of AI-enhanced cognition technology are too great to ignore. As such, we believe it is in the best interest of the galactic scientific community to maintain the status quo and entrust the development and distribution of this technology to the Prilorians." Gasps and murmurs filled the room as the implications of the board's decision sank in. Nathan felt a wave of anger and disbelief wash over him. How could they choose to cover up the truth and allow the Prilorians to continue their unethical practices? He stood up, his voice shaking with emotion. "This is unacceptable. You're choosing to ignore the evidence and perpetuate a system of inequality and oppression. I cannot, in good conscience, continue to be a part of this organization." With that, Nathan turned and walked out of the auditorium, his head held high despite the crushing disappointment he felt. As he made his way through the crowd, he was approached by a small group of human and Prilorian scientists. "Dr. Robinson, we share your vision for a more equitable future," a human scientist said, extending her hand. "We want to join you in your fight for the ethical use of AI-enhanced cognition technology." Nathan shook her hand, a glimmer of hope rising in his chest. "Thank you. Together we can work to create change and ensure that this technology is used for the betterment of all species." As they left the auditorium, Nathan couldn't help but notice Tharos's face, contorted with rage and humiliation. He knew that his rival would not accept defeat easily, but he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Months passed, and Nathan's underground research organization grew in size and strength. They worked tirelessly to refine the AI-enhanced cognition technology, making it safer and more accessible to a wider range of individuals. In secret, they began distributing the neural interfaces to select individuals across the galaxy, carefully vetting each recipient to ensure they shared their vision for a brighter future. The network of enhanced minds grew, working together to push the boundaries of scientific knowledge and promote equality. However, their actions did not go unnoticed. Tharos, fueled by his desire for revenge, had gathered a group of loyal followers and developed his own version of the technology. They launched a series of attacks on Nathan's organization, infiltrating their labs and stealing valuable research data. The conflict between the two groups escalated, with each side employing increasingly sophisticated tactics to outmaneuver the other. Nathan and his team found themselves constantly on the move, setting up temporary bases and working in secret to avoid detection. Despite the challenges they faced, Nathan remained committed to his cause. He knew that the path he had chosen was not an easy one, but he believed that the potential benefits of AI-enhanced cognition technology were too great to ignore. In a final, desperate attempt to end the conflict, Tharos challenged Nathan to a face-to-face confrontation. They met in a secluded location, their enhanced minds locked in a battle of wits and strategy. As they argued back and forth, trading barbs and logical arguments, Nathan realized that the cycle of violence and secrecy would only lead to more suffering. He made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. "Tharos, this has to end. We cannot continue to fight in the shadows, hoarding this technology for ourselves. It's time for the galaxy to know the truth." With that, Nathan released all of his research and the designs for the AI-enhanced cognition technology to the public, making it freely available to anyone who wanted to use it. The news spread like wildfire, sparking a galaxy-wide debate on the ethics and potential consequences of the technology. Some praised Nathan as a hero, while others condemned him for unleashing a potentially dangerous tool upon the galaxy. But Nathan stood firm in his belief that only through transparency and open dialogue could true progress be made. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.